On Sunday, it's like, I think many of our founding fathers, some of them were pastors, but they could have probably got us and preached preaching the sermon. And, today it's like, and I know we're busy, but sometimes I don't think that's an excuse for us. We need to spend more time in the Word. And not just like Mark Lowry said, where he nicknamed his bed the Word, so when people would call him, he's not out of bed in the morning, and said, "What are you doing?" "Well, I spend a little time in the Word." Okay, well, that's good, Mark, that's good. Doesn't quite mean the same, but.
Okay, if you're saying with your generation, a lot of people just continually searching for answers, but you're just
They want the easy version.
Well, that's not even really different than even 100 years ago or 200 years ago. People still want answers. And I don't think people want answers more today than they did back then. I just said back then, first of all, the population is smaller and people prioritize, as we've already stated, their walk with God, studying and trying to show thyself approved. They really did do that more. And I'm not a kid today. I don't know what it's like to raise children in today's young children in today's society, because my kids are all adults. But I definitely agree. Knowing what I see at school, even with little kids, they want the easy way out. They want it spelled out for them. They want the answers given to them, kind of like a ChatGPT kind of thing. All you got to do if you don't know the answer and how to answer this or how to write it for an assignment, ask ChatGPT, and they'll pop one right up there for you. We live in an instant society today in so many ways.
what is my mind, and I'm agreeing with that, like with what he was telling me, what is my mind, because there's no, I just been, within the last year, got smart, right? I done everything the old way instead of building. And now I've used that technology, well, he's using the technology looking at. I use that technology, if you got the right things downloaded, you can find the answer you're looking for within seconds. And you can cross check it in the actual word, so it was not like when you're kids saying with new generation, like searching and looking for answers, these people have been. They understand.
It's for an assignment.
I don't think today, I just, there's always, they're looking for things. They're looking for their way in life and the Word. They're always, the young people, you all realize that, we're looking for, and we're all like, and some of it, it's a little longer, a little more time. Little different, different. I'm for it.
What's sad with a lot of people in the generation, they see what the world has on. Right, well, no, they see it a lot more than you. Am I right? They see it a lot more than we do. But a lot of them don't see the other side of it. You know what I'm saying? Let's be honest. Stuff they're seeing, the worldly things that they're seeing, you don't see the godly things just popping up and getting these worldly things.
It doesn't, that's where I met, and what's the offer? Obviously, it's not here. It's Leona, if I change it now. And it's someone kind of doing the same thing. It's like, did you find something with her? Well, they would say that. Okay, but it's still the same thing, if you can find something different. And so she finds that stuff when they're doing then something about Jesus or something out of the word. So it's like, how do we get this to be more entertaining? So she's not very that way.
Right. Get them involved. I appreciate that. Get them involved, bro. Being on, kind of like the lesson for patience, being on the worker,
will grow you. And if you're studying the word, you get to want to study more. Brother Needs, he said, man, I read the Bible all the way through now. I have learned so much. And she's interested in sharing it more now because it makes sense to her. So that's that growing process. Just say, a couple things real quick. Jesus said, he did give them a sign. This was Jonah was 3 days and 3 nights in the belly of the whale. So shall the Son of Man be 3 days and 3 nights in the heart of the earth. I've got a simple little brain. I really think that was in the heart. For 3 days and 3 nights. That's what I think. Now, is paradise and Hades or whatever still there? I don't know. If the devil's going to be cast into a lake of fire, I'm just throwing out something I don't, the heart of the earth is liquid lava, the way I understand it. That would be a lake of fire. And a spirit wouldn't burn up. Sure. Your body would, the spirit wouldn't. Anyway, I don't. We have another sign coming up here. This is where I was really going. And I can see it. I'm old. I can see it better. Then in the Bible it says, signs of his returning. There'll be 4 things that have always existed. And I've shared this too. But 4 things that have always existed are going to really keep escalating. And I see it happening already. Wars and rumors of war, earthquakes in diverse places, says they'll be married and given in marriage. And I think there has to be a false Christ show up too, to try to deceive the very elect, if it were possible. I think we are getting very close to seeing a false Christ appear somewhere on planet Earth and get a major percent of planet Earth to think that he's Jesus. Right. And I don't know where that's at, but Teresa can find it, because if I tell her, she can find it. Somewhere in the Bible, and I use myself as Keith, Keith, that's him, isn't it? My dad and mom died like 40 years ago. They did not know how that was gonna happen. Believed it because the Bible said, had no clue how it was gonna happen. There's a day coming somewhere in there where you won't buy and sell with a $20 bill or $100 bill or a checkbook. You won't buy anything. You have to have a mark in your right arm or your forehead. They believed it, but they had no idea. Now we have technology that says they can do it today if they wanted.
Yeah.
The technology's there.
Actually already implanted a chip to buy and sell online.
Yeah, you
It's
can,
all-
you can add your credit card and all that stuff and just scan.
And they were so proud to announce it. I remember seeing the video, seeing a news clip of it. Just proud as can be.
Did you get to say what you was going?
No, but I don't mind to. I met with my new employer the other day, because I'm gonna be a private teacher to just one kid. And, you know, we went through what their expectations, huh? Yeah, it's gonna be really hard. I have this lovely new classroom and a mini fridge. Anyway, so, cause he's a teenage boy and he eats all the time. And so he's, you know, went over the expectations. This is what we're doing, but this is where we really need you to hit hard. You know, all these things. I said, yep, and I already have those plans in my head. And he said, Tony, I know you're a Christian. And I've known this man probably for a good 25 years. I said, yes. And he said, we're Christians too. I said, mm-hmm. Although, listen to him talk, sometimes you might go, I'm not judging. And he said, he's very much into religious debate right now. And I said, okay. I said, I'm not debating the Bible. And he said, good. He said he's very much into religious debate, not for the point of trying to get somebody angry or try to disprove, but for the portion of understanding. He's trying to debate the Bible so people can help him get more clear pictures. Because as his parents, we don't know things. I'm like, yes, I remember that stage of life. He said, but my parents, he will not talk to my mom and dad about it because they said there's no discussion to be had. This is just the way it is. He said he's not trying to be mean or disrespectful. He's truly trying to learn. He said, however, our religious beliefs might not necessarily align. And I said, I can understand that, or our doctrinal beliefs. And he said, please do not teach my son anything about religion. I said, I believe I should still follow the same federal rules as if I were being a public school teacher, which means I can't. And I said, and I will not. This is private. Legally, I can, but you're asking me to not to, but I will not change my beliefs, and I will not change how I am. I was wearing a Christian t-shirt during that meeting. He said, I don't care if you wear Christian t-shirts. That doesn't bother me a bit. Just don't teach my son your personal biblical beliefs. And I said, I never did when he was sitting in my classroom. And I told Dale, actually I told Dad about it too. And I said, and I will respect that. And I said, but that just goes back to, I have to be the person that I think I can be best for Christ and pour into him in a totally different way. When we have our young people looking for answers, and the answers are there, but they don't want them. I'm not saying they don't want them. Sometimes the answer is not so easy to follow, or it's too many stipulations. Well, okay, but I don't want to do this. So we kind of start picking and choosing, what we want to do. I'm not trying to down young adults. I'm not trying to down teenage kids. I'm just saying we've all been there and done that at some point in our lives. Because we all had to reach an age of accountability to where we said yes to Jesus's invitation. And it wasn't easy. I got saved as a kid. I was like 10 years old, I think, when I got saved. But even at that didn't make it easy. At 56, sometimes things still are not easy. So I guess that was kind of a prayer request for me to say, I'm excited about this new venture in my life, and I don't expect it to be any different than whenever I taught in public education. But I want him to continuously see my Christianity just by my life and my words and my actions. And that's what we need to do all the time. So the young folks can look at it and go, you know what? That doesn't look like such a bad lifestyle after.
I personally love Christian.
Me too.
But see, we're wired. That's what God's called us to do. Like, if somebody wants to have a debate with me in a calm setting, which you can't, we've already discussed that, your hands are tied, but someone wants to have a debate with me and use the Bible and logic behind it and isn't wanting to fight with me, oh, I love it.
Yeah, me too.
I'll dive into that, just like I would a T-bone steak. I enjoy it.
Yeah.
So that's why I'm saying, discipleship with these young youth, I'm more than willing. They got questions and I can't find the answers, or I don't have the answers, I can find them.
Got me hungry for a T-bone.
Stay focused.
Sorry.
But I'm just saying.
But yeah, I agree. I enjoy that too. And when.
But they have to be willing to listen. They have to be willing to listen.
Yeah.
To me, that's just conversation.
Yeah.
But the debate as far as people getting angry and
Yeah, I don't want nothing to do with it.
I do not have to prove anything to you. That's the Lord's job, and I'm not going to argue.
Well, if they're becoming angry, they're not wanting to listen.
They're wanting to fight.
That's right. Yeah.
That's somebody who just wants to win the argument, they don't care about the answer.
And discipleship is more than just the words you use, it's the life you live.
Yeah.
If you tell a kid, we don't talk like that, then you turn around and talk like that to your husband. You've not taught him anything other than do as I say, not as I do. If you tell them we don't say these things in anger, but you're constantly yelling. Or if you tell them we don't watch things that have that language in it, but then after they go to bed, you're watching things that has that language in it. The things you say don't stick with them near as much as the things you do. Both are important. But if there's a contradiction between what you say and what you do, that breaks the trust from what they're willing to believe from you anyway.
Right, goodbye now.
All right. I think we're probably